The sharp scent of scorched paper spread through my parents' living room. Across from the fireplace, my daughter Sarah stood frozen, her color draining as she watched the flames curl around the document she had been holding up just moments earlier. "Oops," my niece Emma said, tilting her head with a smug little smile. "Dad says you don't deserve success anyway. People like you should know their place." I kept my face still. I didn't react. "What exactly did you burn, Emma?" I asked. She shrugged. "That dumb paper you were showing off, your little business thing." My brother Marcus stepped in from the kitchen, laughing instead of correcting her. "Relax, it was just paperwork. Print another one, she's a kid." Sarah's voice came out barely above a whisper. "That was the original contract, the Henderson account." 1.2 million, she added, her hands shaking. My mother didn't even look up from her knitting. "You shouldn't have been waving it around. Your brother's right, just make another copy." "It had original signatures," I said evenly. "Notarized." Marcus waved it off. "So have them sign again. Why are you always so dramatic about your little consulting thing? It's not like it's a real company." My father nodded in agreement. "You've gotten pretty full of yourself over this side hustle. Making copies isn't hard." I looked back at Sarah. Tears were spilling over now. She spent 3 months building the Henderson proposal. It was her first major client since she joined my firm. I turned back to Emma and spoke carefully. "Emma," I said calmly. "Do you have any idea what you just destroyed?" I asked. Emma shrugged, completely unfazed. "Dad says you act like you're better than everyone. He says someone needed to knock you back to reality." Marcus slid an arm around her shoulders. "Don't question my kid like that. You're the one who brought work papers to a family dinner. That's your mistake." Jennifer walked in from the hallway, glancing around. "What's going on?" "Emma burned Lisa's documents," my mother said flatly. "Now she's making a fuss." Jennifer lifted one shoulder. "Kids do things like that." Marcus chuckled. "$1 million deal? Please. If you were landing contracts like that, you wouldn't be driving that decade-old Honda. You'd have something respectable." "The car works fine," I said. "Because you can't afford anything else," Jennifer replied. "You've always stretched the truth about your career. Remember that startup you claimed to consult for? You were just doing their books." "I was their financial consultant," I said. "They went public 2 years later." "Sure they did," Marcus said. "Just like this $1 million contract that conveniently disappeared before anyone could confirm it existed." My father folded his newspaper and looked at me. "Your brother isn't wrong. You've always had big ideas. There's nothing shameful about a small operation, but pretending it's something bigger only makes you look silly." I pushed my chair back and stood. "I need to make a few calls. Sarah, we're leaving." "Running off again," Marcus said. "Guess reality's uncomfortable." Emma laughed softly. "Bye, Aunt Lisa. Sorry about your fake contract." Once we were in the car, Sarah collapsed into tears. "Mom, that was months of work. The original is gone. Mr. Henderson's legal team won't redo everything." I unlocked my phone. "Give me a minute," I told her quietly. The first call rang twice. "Lisa, good evening," my banker David Morrison said. "David," I said once the line connected, "I need all credit access for Marcus Thompson and Jennifer Thompson suspended. Immediately." There was a pause. "May I ask why?" "It's a personal issue," I replied. "A family matter." "I understand. Is there anything further?" "Yes, pull their mortgage file. I want to go over the terms." "I'll send the report within the hour." I ended the call and dialed the next number. Richard Hayes answered quickly. He was the chair at Continental Savings and Loan. "Lisa, what's going on?" "The Thompson mortgage tied to the First National acquisition," I said. "I want a full review. I also want the documentation ready to call the loan." "That's a serious step," he said carefully. "What's driving this?" "They need clarity about their financial position," I said. There was a brief silence. "I'll have legal prepare everything by morning." When I hung up, Sarah was staring at me from the passenger seat. "Mom, what did you just do?" I kept my eyes on the road. I made sure your work doesn't get dismissed." We drove the rest of the way without speaking. She kept glancing over, clearly holding questions back. She was perceptive enough to know I'd explain later when it mattered. At 6 the next morning, my phone rang. It was Marcus. "What did you do?" he demanded. "Jennifer's cards don't work, every one of them. She's standing in a grocery store right now." "Good morning, Marcus," I said. "Fix this." "No." "She's humiliated." "I'm sure she'll manage," I said. "This is because of what Emma did, isn't it? You've lost your mind." "I didn't freeze anything," I said evenly. "The bank reviewed the accounts and made a decision." "You're going to regret this," he snapped. "I'm calling Dad and our attorney." "I wish you luck," I said and ended the call. 20 minutes later, my mother called. "Lisa, Marcus says you shut down their credit. Tell me that isn't true." "The bank made a business decision, Mom," I said. "This has gone too far," my mother said. "She's a child." "Emma destroyed a legally binding agreement worth more than $1 million, I replied. "That isn't harmless. That's real financial damage. You're taking this out on Marcus and Jennifer for something a kid did. I'm making sure their financial situation is reviewed appropriately." Her tone hardened. "You've always had a cruel streak." About an hour later, my father called. "You need to straighten out Marcus's credit. We're family. We don't hurt each other with money." "We also don't destroy 7-figure contracts," I said. "That was an accident." "She repeated Marcus's words exactly," I said. "He told her I didn't deserve success." There was a pause. "Even so, shutting down their credit is excessive." "Not nearly as excessive as teaching a child to sabotage someone's livelihood." Around midday, Marcus called again. His voice wasn't confident this time. "Lisa, we got a notice from Continental Savings and Loan. They're calling our mortgage. We're current. We've never missed a payment." "Are you sure?" I asked. "Yes." "Then they're using the acceleration clause." "What does that mean?" "It means the full balance is due within 30 days. "That's impossible," he said. $240,000. We don't have that kind of money." "Did you read the rest of the letter?" "It mentions something about First National and new ownership having the right to restructure." "Correct." "Lisa, you know people in banking," he said quietly. "Can you help us?" "I could," I said. "I'm just not sure why I would." The line went silent. "This is about last night," he finally said. "Yes." "I'm sorry," he said. "Emma shouldn't have burned the contract. I shouldn't have laughed. But this is our home. You can't take everything from us over one moment." "One moment," I said. "Your daughter destroyed $1 million agreement while repeating your words. You laughed. Everyone brushed it off. My daughter's months of work meant nothing to you." "It was just paper," he said. "And this," I said, "is just business." "Can't you just take out another mortgage?" I asked. His voice faltered. "We can't. Our credit's locked. We can't even apply anywhere, and even if we could, we don't qualify. Jennifer only works part-time. My income isn't enough." "That's a hard position," I said. "Please," he said. "Whatever you did, undo it. We'll make this right. We'll pay to have the contract recreated. Hire lawyers, whatever it takes." "You can't recreate it," I said. "The client walked away this morning. They don't want to revisit a contract that was destroyed. That door is closed." "Then we'll pay you the full amount," he said quickly. "The $1 million. "With what?" I asked. "You can't even cover your mortgage right now." "My family depends on me," he said. "Emma needs stability. You can't do this to us." "I didn't do anything," I said. "Continental made its own decision about its portfolio. That's how finance works." "This is revenge," he said. "No," I said, "it's consequence." That afternoon, my mother called again. "Your brother is falling apart. Emma won't stop crying. Jennifer's having panic attacks. You need to end this." "End what?" I asked. "The mortgage, the credit. Marcus says you caused all of it." "I don't work for Continental," I said, "and I don't issue credit cards. How exactly would I control their decisions?" You found a way, she said. Did I asked. Or did Marcus create enough instability that lenders started asking questions? What are you implying? That actions ripple, I said. Emma destroyed $1 million agreement. If a parent teaches a child to sabotage business, banks wonder what else that family is capable of. Institutions don't like risk. That evening, Sarah asked quietly, "Are you really going to let them lose their house?" "I haven't decided," I said. Later, Marcus called again, his voice tight with fear. "Emma's terrified we'll be homeless." "Emma is 12, I said. "She's old enough to understand that destroying important documents is wrong. And Marcus," I added, "you're more than old enough to know better." "What happens tomorrow?" he asked quietly. "They'll be given choices," I said. "Either pay the balance within 30 days or sit down and renegotiate the loan." "Renegotiate how?" "That depends on whether they're willing to acknowledge what happened," I said, "and how serious Emma's actions were, including the way you encouraged them." "So this is about accountability?" "Yes." The next morning, when I pulled into my parents' driveway, everyone was already there. Marcus and Jennifer stood near the garage. Emma stayed close to them. My parents were on the porch. Even my younger sister had driven in, despite living 2 hours away. The air felt heavy, like no one had breathed properly in a while. Marcus stepped forward, holding a letter. His fingers shook as he raised it. "It says here the mortgage is owned by L.M. Thompson Holdings." He looked up at me. "That's you, isn't it?" "As in Lisa Marie," he said slowly. "You own our mortgage." "Yes," I said. "My company owns yours, along with several hundred others from the First National portfolio." Jennifer's face drained of color. "How long?" "Since the acquisition," I said. 18 months ago." Her voice sharpened. "So you've owned our mortgage for over a year and never said anything." "There was no reason to," I said. "It's an investment. A servicing company handles the payments. I don't look at individual files unless something brings them to my attention." "Until now," Marcus said. "Until you made it personal," I said. "You taught your daughter to destroy my business contract and laughed while my work was ridiculed in front of everyone. You made it personal first." My father stepped forward, trying to assert himself. "Lisa, this has gone too far. Family doesn't treat family like this. We talk things out. We don't use money as a weapon." "You're right," I said. "Family shouldn't do this." Family doesn't tear down each other's work out of envy. Family doesn't belittle achievements just to feel larger by comparison. And family doesn't teach children to ruin someone else's success because they can't cope with it themselves. But that's exactly what happened in that living room 2 nights earlier, and no one seemed willing to face it, except Sarah and me. Emma was crying now. The smugness from before was gone completely. "I'm sorry, Aunt Lisa," she said through tears. "I didn't know it was real. I didn't think it mattered that much. Dad said you were just showing off. He said you exaggerate your business and pretend you're more important than you are." I kept my tone steady, not unkind. "And what do you think now, Emma?" She sniffed. "I think Dad was wrong, and I was wrong too. I really am sorry." The tears this time weren't for show. Marcus rested a hand on her shoulder, his own eyes glassy. "Don't blame her for everything," he said. "This started with me." He took a breath. "I was jealous, Lisa. You've always been the one who made it, and I felt like I was always trailing behind. When Emma burned the contract, a part of me felt satisfied. I wanted to see you brought down a notch. That was ugly and cruel, and I know it." He looked at me. "I'm sorry, truly." I met his eyes. "Are you sorry for what you did?" I asked, "or because there are consequences now?" "For both," he said without hesitation. "I'm sorry for teaching Emma the wrong things, for mocking your work, for ignoring how hard you and Sarah have worked. Please, Lisa, tell us what you want. We'll apologize. Publicly, if that's what it takes." "We'll cover Sarah's lost commission from the Henderson deal," Marcus said quickly. "And we'll sit Emma down and explain exactly what she did, why it was wrong, and what it cost. Just, please don't take our house. Please don't make my daughter homeless because of my mistakes." I looked at Sarah. She hesitated for a moment, then gave a small nod. The letter explains your choices, I said. You can pay the full balance within 30 days if you're able to secure the funds, or you can accept revised terms. I paused before continuing. Those revised terms include a written apology to Sarah for the destroyed contract, a structured plan to repay her lost commission from the Henderson account, and required financial counseling for Emma, focused on real-world consequences of destroying property and interfering with business. Jennifer wiped her face with the back of her hand, streaking her makeup. We accept, she said immediately. Whatever the terms are, whatever you want, we'll do all of it. There's one more condition, I said. Marcus straightened. You're going to call the Henderson Group yourself, I said. You'll explain that your daughter destroyed their contract out of poor judgment. You'll ask them to reconsider working with Sarah, and you'll personally stand behind her professionalism, her ability, and her expertise. Marcus swallowed. They already hired someone else, he said quietly. Then you'll convince them, I said, to bring Sarah on for a separate project or additional consulting work. You'll use every business contact you have to make that happen. Use whatever influence you have in your field, I said. Make it happen, Marcus. Show me that you actually respect the work we do. He swallowed hard, and if I can't, his voice was barely audible. Then the original terms apply, I said. The full balance is due in 30 days. On day 31, foreclosure starts. Marcus nodded slowly. He understood exactly what was at stake. I'll do it, he said. I promise. I'll reach out to everyone I know. I'll fix this. My mother stared at me, stunned. You're really going to require all of this? It feels extreme. Yes, I said, because Emma needs to learn that actions have consequences in the real world. Marcus needs to learn that cutting others down doesn't elevate him. And everyone here needs to finally accept that my success isn't imagined. It's real. Sarah's success is real. Our work has value. I looked around at all of them. And we won't tolerate being treated like our accomplishments are disposable or fictional ever again. 3 weeks later, Marcus called. I got Sarah a meeting with Henderson, he said. They're considering her for a separate project, $600,000. I told them she's the best in the business, Marcus said. Thank you, Marcus, I replied. I mean it, Lisa. She's good. I was wrong to dismiss that. I was wrong about a lot of things. I know, I said. Are we okay as a family? We're getting there, I said. Keep working on it. Emma wrote Sarah a letter by hand, apologizing and detailing what she'd learned in her financial counseling sessions. Sarah framed it and placed it in her office. My parents still don't fully grasp everything that happened, but they're more careful now about brushing off my work. My mother even asked genuine questions about my business last week, real curiosity, not sarcasm. As for the mortgage, I adjusted the terms as promised. Marcus and Jennifer now make their payments on time. They understand what's at stake. And every time Emma comes over, she asks Sarah about her current contracts, not to mock, but with real interest. Sometimes, people have to lose almost everything to finally see what truly matters.